What's up YouTube, it's your boy Kakashi Crypto. This house going down. As always, I'll be bringing you guys opportunities in the markets, giving you a quick overview of the following coins today. So we'll be talking about Waves, IOTA, Vechain, ADA, Tezos, YFI, Synthetix, and also Ethereum.
David, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Having money on my mind, I have the money in my pocket. Bone marrow roasted, spread it on the rosemary bread, lightly toasted, drizzle with the vinaigrette.
Just want to show you guys my Ethereum trade. If you guys wanted to get in on Ethereum, I would suggest waiting for a dip like I did here, and then you can enter a 10 to 25x long. I did take some profits, and you can see here I took around 0.3 ETH for profits at the wrong time down here or so. Doesn't matter, you don't go broke taking profits. I'm looking to ride this up now until we get to at least $1,000, maybe even 1,005, especially with the ETH 2.0 deposit contract funds needed. I think we're just over halfway now, so the buying pressure is just going to continue and continue and continue. So until that happens, I think it's a safe bet to say that this is going to go up. Now obviously the higher we go, the riskier it gets, but that's why it's a good idea to buy in on the dips. But yeah, that's that. Looking at waves, we have again we're looking at the Bitcoin pairings, not the USD pairings, because bun that, okay? Against the Bitcoin pairing, it seems that waves is in a cup and handle pattern and is currently breaking out of the cup. I had previously drawn, okay, so for this cup and handle to play out, if it does play out, then it would mean a 78% move over the next couple of weeks or so from where the price currently is now, and that's based upon this distance here added to this sort of not neckline but the measuring line, I guess, and then you just sort of gives you a rough target of where the price would break out over the next couple of weeks or so. And this, especially if Bitcoin's going to trade sideways and whatnot. There was a good tweet I saw from the Crypto Lark saying that family offices and hedge funds or whatever, they're going to go on break for Christmas. So that would potentially mean that there would be a lot less buying pressure for Bitcoin and crypto in general, so the prices could go down. So that would be a potential good time to look at setting up a Bitcoin long, but also means that the whole market could go down in general. So don't get too overexposed to any position. So yeah, if you guys are looking to enter waves, potentially a good time. Looking at the daily, yeah, it's looking very, very good. We are a bit overextended on the RSI at around 87. Previously in August we got to around 92, so in terms of historic RSI levels we could keep pumping further. However, if the safe time is to get in when the RSI is still quite low. So maybe wait for a pullback in terms of the cup and handle playing out, wait for it to retest it before breaking out, if it does retest. If not, then not the end of the world. You can potentially FOMO it in, but just know that it is risky. Have a stop loss set if you're going to do that, and you can do that on Binance. Next up, we'll be looking at IOTA. Now I don't know much about this coin actually, I would need to do some research. So against Bitcoin, it seems to be doing quite well at the moment. In terms of the RSI, it is around 54, so there's a lot of room for upside. In summer we saw RSI levels of around 80 before we did become oversold and then start to trend downwards. So if this, sorry guys about that, if this is to continue to go in the fashion that I think it is, then potentially just to get to previous highs that we saw in summer, we could do a 2x basically. However, that is highly skeptical. You can see macro that IOTA is in a downtrend against Bitcoin. I'm not spreading FUD or anything like that, don't get me wrong. I'm just giving you guys a realistic picture of how things are. Essentially looking at the weekly, it gives us an even better perspective. You could say things are turning around, and they very well could be, but potentially I see it being in a moment like this where we went from being very, very undervalued against Bitcoin to being overvalued well, not overvalued, but being worth more against Bitcoin in a short period of time. I can't say 100% whether this trend will reverse like it did here in November, but macro, this is trending downwards, so just bear that in mind. Don't bet the farm. So next up we have Vechain. Vechain against USD is doing wonders, but we're interested in what it's doing against Bitcoin. So on the weekly, oh look at this, I drew this descending wedge and it's playing out very nicely. If this is to play out how I hope it would, then we could see price targets of the following. Let me turn off log just so it doesn't mess things up too much. We could see price targets of 92% against Bitcoin in the next couple of weeks or so. So we would need these two EMAs, the 8 EMA and the 13 EMA, to cross bullish again. Sorry, the blue would need to go above the red, which I believe can happen, like we saw here. And yeah, that would be a very good move for Vechain against Bitcoin. And you can get it on crypto.com. Links in the description in my link tree. Go check that out. So yeah, do have that on your radar. On the daily, I'm sure it's a lot more pumpy. Yeah, it's way more pumpy. You can see here just on the daily, it's just kicking in. Like Vechain is going crazy. It's going crazy. Like it'll do like a +20, then it'll have a pullback of -5, then it'll do another +15, +20. It's nuts, man. It's nuts. So yeah, have that on your radar, guys. And I know I'm going over these super briefly, but I don't want the video to be too long. I value your time. You value your own time, I hope. So just yeah, that's that. So next we have Tezos against Bitcoin. Let's see what it's doing. Again, macro, a lot of these coins against Bitcoin, they can't compete. However, this looks like we are reversing now. Looking at the Heikinashi candles, you can see here that there has been less and less not volume. Well, there has been less volume, but also the sizes of the red candles have started to get smaller as well. This candle here represents indecision, meaning that we could potentially start to see green candles like we saw here in this little pump here. But we would need, first of all, the RSI. Even though it's ever so slight, you can see that it's pointing up. I can't put my cursor over it because it would bring up the little arrow like you can see here. But you guys get where I'm going with this. Potentially you could see a little fractal like the following. If I just quickly draw something like this, hopefully we can have a little rally against Bitcoin, having, you know, anywhere from where is it, from previous resistance or support, I should say, so around 24%, anywhere up until 113% in the next couple of weeks or so, which I do definitely believe is possible. But like I saw with the Crypto Larks tweet, I do think that Christmas period will have a big impact on alt markets. So don't forget to take profits, guys. Ultimately, when you take profits, you have more ammo for when the markets do dip again. So just bear that in mind. But yeah, this is looking very good for Tezos against Bitcoin, looking like a very good reversal. So yeah, just have that on your guys' radars. Next we have ADA. So ADA as well is going ballistic, and there's so much to keep up with. It's actually, oh my god, look at that beautiful pump. That's a beautiful candle. Look at 14% against Bitcoin, 14%. So this is just getting started, I believe. Hopefully we can potentially see what we saw in summer with this alt rally here. If this fractal is to play out, big if, I know, but just entertain you guys. If this fractal is to play out, we could see gains of very nice levels. We would see roughly just from where we are now to where the top of the fractal is, that would be a 100% move pretty much. But yeah, you can see I drew all these other levels of, you know, reversals and things like that. Essentially, guys, if you see like dojis like this, where it's like a Star Wars candle, excuse me, if you see dojis where it's like a Star Wars candle, that indicates that it's sort of a reversal going on potentially, but it depends on where the market is, sort of thing. So like, for example, if you look here, or let's look at here, so we're in an uptrend here. It could have easily, and I'm sure it did, go the other way before then going back up, because we saw a little dip in terms of the RSI, but it was in an uptrend, and the 8 EMA and 13 EMA were spread out, meaning that it was, you know, in this bullish momentum, and it was also wasn't too oversold in terms of the RSI. However, now looking here, we can see that it's had touches against previous resistance, flipped as support, and then Obviously, hindsight is 2020, but you can see that the RSI has sort of, it started to curve upwards, and you could see that it was doing that. Whereas it's not a perfect sort of strategy to look at and think that it's going to work, but generally it tends to play out. Like, not just here an example, but for example here, that's like a Star Wars doji. Here, it didn't play out, but here it definitely did, because we were oversold. Here, like I said, if I go back in time, then I'm sure there's more. Not really a Star Wars doji, but you guys get the gist of it, where I'm going with it. Here, not really, but yeah, you guys get what I mean. I don't need to go back in time for you guys to understand the point I'm trying to make. Next up, we have YFI. So YFI against Bitcoin. I actually bought this the other day, then I panic sold, which I regret doing now. I feel like an idiot. But in terms of its valuation against Bitcoin, it's pumping again. It's not at its previous levels that we saw last week of around 1.5 Bitcoin per YFI, but it's getting there. It's getting there. If I draw a trend line now, if this trend line is to be respected, then potentially it could do some nice X's in the next couple of weeks or so. The only thing is with these coins is that you want to buy in when they've had their little retracements, not when they've had their pumps, which is the mistake that I've made. So I hope you guys learned from my mistake. Yeah, I hope you found value in this video. If you have, make sure you smash up the like button and subscribe. Let me know what you guys are thinking as well, what coins you guys are bullish on. Hope to see you soon. Bye.